The struggle is real. Over at Geeks and Gamers, they are trying to simultaneously convince you that you care enough about Ironheart for them to talk about it over and over and over again this week, but also no one cares about Ironheart because no one is talking about it. It is so exhausting with these guys. The exhausting part really is like the fans of these channels. How can you believe that? How can they convince you that no one cares about something, but it's also so important to the studio that it's destroying the studio? Are all your brain cells not firing at the same time? Like, what is the problem here? And of course, we have like a pseudo-racist thumbnail here, and they're going to justify it in the video because they're talking about Robert Downey Jr. So we pick a picture of Robert Downey Jr. in blackface from a movie, and we're going to sit that next to Ironheart because of reasons, I guess. Let's debunk this idiot.
Marvel uses Robert Downey Jr. to sell Ironheart ahead of Disney Plus release. Explains why Riri is more remarkable than Tony Stark.
I wonder if that's the actual quote. Let me look this up. And the lies keep coming with more false, fake narratives and headlines from these websites. I just looked, double-checked, triple-checked. I can't find anywhere where Robert Downey Jr. says that Riri is remarkable and better than Tony Stark in any regard. In any regard. They're using quotations in this article headline, which, by the way, Jeremy, like, why is it so big in your background that we can't even read the whole thing? Like, you know how to make the article readable to everybody else. I don't know why. It's just laziness, pure laziness. Either way, the headline here is a misquote that didn't even happen. Not even close to this. Man, they're insufferable.
Holy shit. This is how important diversity is. It's so important that you can't even sell on the diverse character. You have to use the white male character in order to market your diversity garbage.
Well, that's called privilege. That's what that's called. That the thing that you guys say doesn't exist, it's using a white guy to promote other stuff because otherwise people tend to do what you guys are doing, which is dismissing it. And this diverse character exists in comic books. Already exists in comic books, has for a while, was not put into the MCU just to replace another character. And you're going to tell on yourself in a second, because I've already kind of breezed through this video. You're going to tell on yourself in a second, and I have receipts that you guys contradict yourselves in your opinions on this.
And everyone knows that Ironheart is going to be a disaster. Like, no one cares about this series at.
But yet you've already done 2 videos about it today. You did a live stream and this video, and you've talked about it. You've done videos over the last couple months about it, but nobody cares about it, right? No one's talking about it. If no one really cared about it, you wouldn't be making videos about it.
And the fact that they're pulling this card right here just shows you how desperate they are. Marvel is
they're desperate because they're promoting the series with an actor that they know actually gets people to click on articles and read them. Is that marketing or is that desperation? I mean, according to you, it's desperation, but it's actually very smart marketing on their part. Anyway, let's continue.
Invoking the name of Robert Downey Jr. in an attempt to justify its upcoming Ironheart series. Marvel's Ironheart is gearing up to close out Phase 5 of the MCU on Disney+.
By the way, that Park Place, Jeremy and these guys are so lucky that these articles are written for them because they don't have to do anything. This is why they always click on these articles instead of the ones that these articles are pulling from. Like, they'll read this before they'll read the actual interviews. Because on these websites like Park Place, what is it, Fandom Pulse, Cosmic News, they prepackage, Bounding into Comics, they prepackage all of the negativity for them, so they don't have to do anything. They don't have to have anybody write anything. They can just read this garbage.
Plus, and the studio appears to be going into full damage control mode ahead of the premiere.
Full damage control mode. Is damage control in the room with us right now? Is it? Is it somewhere around the corner here? Damage control. By using a quote, well, not even a real quote. Obviously, you guys, the headline here is a fake quote. By using Robert Downey Jr. to help promote a series that has been in post-production for like 2 or 3 years now. So this is what damage control looks like. Yeah, It's too much.
Despite fans still scratching their heads over her inclusion into Black Panther Wakanda Forever, Marvel is now rolling out a legacy name drops, strategic comparisons, and emotional appeals in the thinly veiled attempt to build hype.
That sounds really weird. A legacy name drop? Legacy name drop. These guys still don't understand what legacy means in context of comic book characters. They still don't understand it. After all this time, they don't get it. They just don't.
And legitimately for a show that few asked for. A spiritual successor with no actual link. In a new feature with Empire, Dominique Thorne, who plays Riri Williams / Ironheart, recounted her brief encounter with Robert Downey Jr., describing the interaction as exciting.
I mean, it would be exciting getting to meet Robert Downey Jr. You're playing a character in a film franchise that was sort of spearheaded by Robert Downey Jr. So it would be exciting to meet him. I think that's a fair emotion to feel in that moment. These guys have no respect or love for any of this stuff. They just don't. They don't even understand what it's like to care about this stuff because they don't. Jeremy, like we've said before, again, I have to reiterate this. Jeremy has said that all of this is just narrative building. I don't know if he even really thinks much about it. If you go back a few years, you'll see that Jeremy actually did love a lot of this stuff, but then he's just kind of gone into copy-paste attack mode with everything. That's just his normal state of being. When he goes on F&T and tries to talk about things that he likes, he gets shut down. So, I mean, he's kind of a shell of a human being at this point.
An exciting exchange where the actor gave her a few words of encouragement and literally 2 thumbs up. The story is now being framed by Marvel as some kind of symbolic torch passing moment, with articles declaring Riri and Tony Stark to be spiritually linked in the MCU. There's just one problem. There is no link, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, so you want it both ways then, right? You want to pretend that Riri Williams, Ironheart, is a black female version of Tony Stark's Iron Man. That's the narrative you frame. This is why you guys don't like this character. At least that's what you said before. I mean, the only other thing is that you don't like her because she's a black girl. It's one of those two things. Like, and the idea that she's just a black girl existing in a movie, plays into the fact that you don't like her as a version of Iron Man, which, by the way, she's never been a true version of Iron Man. That's never happened. But you guys over at Geeks and Gamers, you guys have tried to make that link play over from the comic books to live action in this clip here.
It sounds like it's going to be a nightmare because, quite frankly, everyone hated this character in the comic books. When you decide to try to push a replacement for Tony Stark, and it's a little black girl who's smarter than he ever was,
There we go. So you guys believe, at least from what Ryan is saying here over Geeks and Gamers, that Riri is actually a replacement for Tony Stark. A little black girl is a replacement for Tony Stark and Iron Man. There's only one problem. That is not true. If you're someone that hasn't read this run, you don't know a lot about Ironheart, I want to make it very clear that during Ironheart's run, she was not a quote-unquote Iron Man replacement. Actually, Tony Stark, as AI, was involved with Ironheart's comic book run. She never actually took up the mantle of Iron Man. She was Ironheart. So to make this clear, she has always been her own character. However, there is a character from the comic books at this time that actually did take up the mantle of Iron Man. And surprise, surprise, it is not a little black girl. It is actually Dr. Doom. Dr. Doom actually did replace Tony Stark as the Iron Man in the comics for a run. So both of these characters, both Ironheart and Dr. Doom as Iron Man, existed in the same time when Tony was gone, but Dr. Doom actually was Iron Man, whereas Ironheart has always been Ironheart. This is one detail that these guys always leave out when they're trying to trash Ironheart. Let's get back to Jeremy's video.
Tony Stark died in Avengers Endgame before Riri was ever introduced. They never met. They have never shared screen time, no storyline overlap, no established relationship with the films. Calling them spiritually connected is pure marketing spin, a way for Marvel to claim legacy without earning it.
So why are you guys mad then? What's the anger for? What's the anger about? Because if you're not mad that Ironheart Riri is legitimately replacing Iron Man, like that's her entire reason for existing in the MCU is to replace Tony Stark. If you're saying that there's no connection there and that there's no screen time shared, there's no crossover with these characters, she's not taking up the name Iron Man, she's literally a different character altogether. If this is all true and that you don't believe that Marvel is being in good faith by calling this a spiritual successor, then you should be happy about that, because that means that she's not replacing Iron Man. And you guys are vindicated. She's going to be a separate character and Iron Man's just going to be Iron Man and you never have to worry about it. So now you're pretending to be mad about something else. Now there's outrage about something else. Now you're mad that Marvel is using Robert Downey Jr. to promote Ironheart as a character because you guys have admitted in the similarities between the characters. You guys are the ones, I just showed the clip where you're talking about the fidelity from one character being passed on to the next, and that's how you see it. So if there is no actual connection, this just stinks of fake outrage. It stinks of fake outrage. The headline that was used, the quote that was used, doesn't even exist. It just doesn't exist. And all of this is conjecture. It's all conjecture.
It's also a way to reassure fans that Iron Man approves of his replacement, even though that replacement is arriving with little of the narrative weight that made Stark iconic.
So is she a replacement or not? Is she or isn't she? This is talking out of both sides of your mouth. Are you mad that Marvel is using Riri as Ironheart to replace Iron Man, and therefore they're establishing that? They're establishing that in the films by getting Robert Downey Jr.'s approval of this. Or is she not connected? She's not a replacement for Iron Man, and this is all false. That this narrative that Tony Stark approves of her is all fake, and she's not actually going to be connected or replacing Iron Man. Which one of those things are you mad about? Because you can't be mad at both of them because they're conflicting concepts and ideas.
Yes. You're not earning any of it, which is the definition of DEI. Didn't earn it. This lines up perfectly. Dumpster diving over a billionaire's brilliance. Then there's the quote that's raising some eyebrows. Thorne compared her character's background with Tony Stark's.
Wait a minute, hold on. I just thought about this. The DEI statement. If this character had no help from Tony Stark, no assistance from Tony, did all of this on her own, built the suit using scraps and things like that, and just happened to stumble into the Wakanda Forever situation in that movie, and that's a whole different discussion. But if she did all of this herself and she didn't get any help from Tony Stark, she didn't get anything handed to her, how is she DEI? I'm not talking about the movie. I'm talking about the actual character, because that's what we're talking about here. Regardless of how they use her in the movies, it's a fictional world. Things are going to get skipped over. Certain things are not always going to be explained. You don't see somebody's life every single day. It's not a reality TV show where you're watching them 24 hours a day. So certain things are just going to happen, and then you're going to watch that progress in the bigger story beats that we see in the TV shows and the movies. But if you look at Riri Williams as a character in the MCU, she literally had to do everything herself. That is the exact opposite of what these guys think DEI is. So she didn't earn it. What did she not earn? She didn't earn a compliment from Tony Stark. She didn't earn a compliment from Dominique didn't earn the compliment from Robert Downey Jr. What does that even mean? That doesn't make any sense, man.
She's dumpster diving, whereas Tony Stark was a bajillionaire.
Right. So he had a bunch of money that was handed to him. He was rich from the beginning, from the start. But somehow Riri is the DEI person. Somehow Riri is the one that we're supposed to be upset with. Not the person that had a silver spoon. Not that guy. Riri is the one we're supposed to be mad at. I don't see how that makes any sense.
What she's able to accomplish is remarkable. Oh my God.
Well, I mean, Tony Stark's first suit was built in a cave with scraps. So are you mad that she was capable of doing the same thing? Is that what makes you upset? That a little black girl was able to build a suit out of scraps just like Tony Stark was? That there's some restriction on other characters being smart. So Tony can be smart, Bruce Banner can be smart, all these other characters can be smart, but the little black girl, no way. Unbelievable. Completely outside of bounds. There's no way that she can be smart because she's just a little black girl. So that's impossible. Only the older white guys can be the smart ones. Is that the bar that we have now?
At first glance, it's meant to emphasize Riri's resourcefulness, but dig a little deeper and it reads like an unnecessary and frankly dismissive contrast. Stark's origin...
This sounds like a Chat GPT thing. It's like he went into Chat GPT and he's like, I'm going to feed you information. I want you to give me the worst possible take on it. Whatever it is I give you, I want you to go dig deeper or look under the surface or something. Like if you've ever used Chat GPT for anything at all, organizing stuff, whatever, go in there, enter in a positive, like copy paste a positive review of something, then tell Chat GPT to give you a negative version of that positive review. And this is the same kind of language it uses. This feels like a edited version of a Chat GPT article.
Didn't begin in a Manhattan skyscraper. He built his first suit while kidnapped in a cave and with shrapnel near his heart, using scrap metal and pure genius to survive.
And somehow that's more believable and acceptable than what Riri does. Somehow that's okay.
His wealth wasn't a shortcut. It was part of a larger arc about responsibility, sacrifice, and redemption.
And you haven't seen, have you seen the show yet? Have you seen Ironheart's TV series? So since you haven't seen it, you don't know what stories told, what we learn about her, what kind of struggle she's had in her real life. We don't know any of that. All of this is promo stuff for the upcoming show, so people will tune in to find out more about her. But it's guys like you that are dismissive of like any diversity whatsoever, that you can't see the forest for the trees.
By framing Tony as a spoiled billionaire in contrast to the gritty and remarkable Riri, Marvel seems to be engaging in the same messaging
This is struggling. This is struggling to be negative. This is so try-hard, desperate, and pathetic to be negative. It's so desperate. Tony, the entire reason Tony was in the position he was in is because of the fact that they were selling military-grade weapons to a bunch of people that he didn't feel good about. Him being a billionaire was directly connected to the position that he was in. This is all overlooking that. And I'm not saying that what Tony did is, oh, it's impossible, there's no way, blah, 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 whatever. I'm saying the framing that Riri could not do the same thing as a smart individual existing in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is, at this point, it's just racism. It's just racism and sexism.
We've seen before, propping up new heroes by downplaying the old ones instead of letting Ironheart stand on her own. The narrative is that she's more authentic because she comes from less.
No. Where's that narrative at? Where the fuck is that narrative? It doesn't exist in anything that you've shown me so far. In this article, nowhere does it say that. Robert Downey Jr. gave her 2 thumbs up. Dominique talks about her being remarkable because she likes the idea that she's resourceful. Nowhere in those 2 things does it say anything about her being better than Tony Stark. It doesn't say that anywhere. This is outright misleading, disinformation, conjecture, hyperbole. It's all of these things. All of it is being used to push racism and sexism on this character. It's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting.
It's a tired playbook and one that's turning off longtime fans.
Well, this show isn't necessarily made for longtime fans. In the most recent interview, Kevin Feige says that we need more things that are standalone that don't tie into the bigger picture. So I think they're trying to be less gatekeepy, which means that they aren't just focused on longtime fans. He literally just said this a week ago.
The real problem, Ironheart was never organic. Riri Williams' original appearance in Wakanda Forever was widely viewed as forced by many critics and fans, noting that her inclusion felt like a Disney Plus backdoor pilot more than a natural fit for the story. Now her standalone series is being marketed and borrowed nostalgia, legacy hand-me-downs, and vague platitudes. But again, that's what DEI is. That's what this character is.
It is not. This was a black character in a movie full of black characters. Where is the DEI in that? Unless you're calling the entire film DEI. Please explain that. Secondly, they did not use any Tony Stark stuff with her in Wakanda Forever. Like, he wasn't there with her, obviously, passing the torch, doing any of that stuff. He did that with Spider-Man. He was in the fucking Spider-Man movies. If anything, Peter Parker's Spider-Man in the MCU is more of a legacy version of Iron Man than Riri Williams is. This is all on you guys. This is all on you. So you're telling me that Riri Williams in the MCU is a DEI character because they put a black woman in a movie with a bunch of other black actors to establish a new character that then is going to have their own TV series that has nothing to do with Iron Man at all. And somehow, some way, through all of this, you have established that that equals DEI? Holy shit.
They don't believe that a person of color, their terms, not mine, they don't believe a person of color can actually be sustainable on their own merits. They have to use the toxic white male's merits in order to put the person of color over.
How so? Riri was introduced in Wakanda Forever. The movie came out so long ago that with this show coming out several years in post-production hell, they want to have an article to put out to promote the show. And the best way to do that is to use the character that you guys have already said she's replacing. This is on you guys. You're the ones that say that. Use the actor that plays that character to come out and say, hey, I'm happy about this. Give this a shot. 2 thumbs up. No other real quotes. Just 2 thumbs up. And you spun fucking out of control and had a whole article written about how undeserving a young black woman is because you don't like the fact that the actress that plays Riri said the character is remarkable and that she's happy about how resilient the character is. And you made a whole article about it. A whole fucking article trashing her, drawing a bunch of fucking context out of it that doesn't exist, making it seem like it's DEI because a black character was introduced in a black movie is going to have their own series. But oh no, Robert Downey Jr. gave her 2 thumbs up, so fucking DEI. You got to be fucking kidding me.
That's the whole point behind this, because they don't believe in minorities. They don't actually think minorities are deserving of their own story. They need the white man's hand-me-downs. That's how Hollywood looks at this. That's why virtue signaling is...
This is when you... Okay, I'm just going to be very straightforward here. This is what racists do. This is what racist people say. Because Jeremy does not believe any of the stuff he's saying here in terms of like, oh, that fucking progressive people need DEI because DEI is the only way they can see a minority group succeed, whether it be obviously a black person or a gay person or a trans person or any of these other people. They can't, nothing can be done on the backs of these people in their community. So they have to have the white people to come in and help them. That is white privilege, my dude. That's what that is. That is what all of this is, all the fighting back against it is because of that reason. That's why it exists. A lot of our communities would love to be able to put things out that people embrace and love and get respected as much as everybody else's stuff. But the reality is we don't get shakes like that very often. If a gay superhero comes out and puts out a movie without any support from straight people whatsoever, what happens? It gets trashed. And if any straight person comes out and supports it, you would say, oh, they're just doing this on the back of straight people. So it's a goalpost that is unachievable. It's an unachievable expectation. You know what? After thinking about it, I don't even have to create an example, a hypothetical. We have proof right here. You guys rejected a gay character from the comics in Wiccan. The fidelity from the comics was held onto the show, and you rejected it because the show was promoting itself as probably the most gay show that has ever been done with Marvel because of the inclusion of one of the lead characters being an openly gay character. And you mocked it. You made fun of it. You trashed it. You kept on trashing it over and over and over again. I watched all these videos when you guys did it. So you did not respect this from the source material when a show with a gay character, a canonically gay character comes out, You didn't appreciate it then. So don't tell me now that you believe that when a show comes out, that Marvel doesn't believe that the show can be good when they have a marginalized group in it. So they have to build it on the backs of some other character. This show had Agatha, a character that was a supporting character in WandaVision, not using any other characters in the MCU to promote it. No Robert Downey Jr., no Chris Evans, no Chris Hemsworth. Nobody was doing that. It came out. People were enjoying it. They were having a good time. One of the main characters was a gay character, and you still trashed it. So all of this other stuff you're saying about DEI and Ironheart and all this other shit, it's all performative bullshit. You guys do not support stuff when it comes out from marginalized groups, whether it's black, whether it's gay, trans, women, whatever, you don't support it. And then when you see the studios trying to do their best to make sure that people are going to give it a shot, like have one of these actors from the earlier phases come out and do something as simple as give it 2 thumbs up, you lose your minds. And then you say, well, the studio obviously doesn't believe in this project, so they have to put it on the backs of the white actors and the straight actors and all this stuff or whatever. But then you ignore and trash the stuff. I would say ignore. You lose your minds and you trash the stuff that is diverse when you think that it doesn't matter. Which is the same thing you're saying about Ironheart. Who cares about this? Who cares about this show? You were acting like in your video that no one cares about it. But then you go on to read this whole fucking Cope article building hatred towards the show and the people associated with the show because they are trying to support the show. It is a bunch of nonsense goobly gob. That's what it is. It's all hatred packaged in a narrative. You guys are pathetic. It's disgraceful. Fucking disgraceful.